Hi, this is the Black Bear Prepper, and if you came to our last round table, I kind of tricked you up if you've been watching our videos. We did not talk about tents and sling bags. We're going to do that this next month. What we wanted to do was talk a little bit about tools. So if you got something for Christmas or what it was. Now, one video, if you watched the video just before this, it was on my 5 favorite Swiss Army knives. Remember, look for those key elements in your Swiss Army knife. Make sure it's got the Victorinox written on it. Make sure it's got the right symbol on the side. There's some really good fakes out there that are not true Victorinox knives. Now, some of the people had mentioned that they didn't like the knives because they have a poor, they're a very soft blade. Soft blades are easy to sharpen. They have a 55 to 56 hardness on the Rockwell scale, which is still pretty good. It's basically the same quality as like a 440 stainless or something close to that. Even in your summer higher end stainlesses, 1095 stainless is 58, 59-ish. So we're not talking a huge difference. They are a softer steel, I'm not gonna lie. I like them because they hold up really well for me. They tend to cut really well, and as long as you keep them sharp, they stay sharp a long time. But one of those things. That's just an answer to one of the people out there that had made a comment about it being a soft steel. I have not really noticed that. I use the Victorinox knives in my camp kitchen, and I've been using those for years. I've been sharpening knives for years. I really do like those. Saying that, there is harder steels out there. Now, what we've wanted to do was kind of talk a little bit about knives that the Scouts should have, and we're going to be talking in our next video coming up in this series of tool videos is talking about heavier duty tools, axes, saws, and fixed blade knives. What we're going to be talking about today, last time we were talking about my 5 favorite Swiss Army knives, we're going to be talking about my 5 favorite Leatherman tools. Now, saying that, you can always see there's 4 here. The reason is because the one tool that's not here that I keep on my gun belt is a SOG tool. Now, I really like the SOG tools. They're great tools. I love their ratcheting system that's internally in there. They tend to be a little harder to use on larger items because the handles open up so wide and you end up having to use 2 hands. But for smaller jobs, if you're sitting there, it does have the best gripper out there. It's a very good tool. Something I do not recommend for the Scouts because I think the Leatherman tool does a lot better job. Kind of going from my right, your left over. This one is a favorite of mine. It's called the Fuse. I've carried this one for a long time. It's a very good tool, it's a very comfortable tool, and it's very, very light. And the reason is because they added these plastic reinforcements on both sides. It is not the toughest tool. Now, if you're doing some basic work where you need more needle nose pliers than anything else, and you're carrying, a lock knife, some kind of, belt clip type knife, this is a really great tool to have. And I carried it because it was so much lighter. So when I was doing work, when I had to, maybe I had to be in an area where I didn't want to carry a bunch of tools in there or carry them up in an attic. I didn't want my, it hanging off and really weighing down my pants. I really like the Fuse for that reason. Very, very light, good tool. You're going to have a couple screwdrivers, a decent blade, and then you're going to have your Phillips screwdriver. The Leatherman tools, I love their can opener. Definitely one of the best can openers on the market, and a decent pair of scissors. Probably my all-time favorite Leatherman tool is going to be the Wave. Is it their toughest tool? No. Is it their biggest, heaviest duty tool? No. Does it do something that the other ones don't? Which is, if you have your your pliers out, we've got a helicopter coming over us right now. You can take out some of your smaller tools. You're going to have 2 screwdrivers. And I'll wait for the helicopter to come over the top here. So this is a real favorite of mine, especially if you're an eyeglass wearer or you have kids in your group that are eyeglass wearers. This is the eyeglass screwdriver. It flips for both standard and Phillips drive. You have a full-size, 1/4-inch screwdriver or a little pry bar, which is really nice. A decent pair of scissors, which is really nice. It's a good quality pair. Not the best scissors out of their whole fleet, and we'll get to that in a minute, but a decent all-around tool. Now on the other side, you have a reversible screwdriver. I like this one, has both the Phillips heads in it because you already get the flat head in there and there's no real reason for that. One thing that both, a couple of the knives can do, this particular one and the Surge both have a kit you can purchase that will carry extra tips, square drives, Phillips. So if you're a person that really does work, maybe you do maintenance or something like that, kind of a nice feature to buy. Now you're 20 bucks and you can have these guys. And they all go right into this tip here. Now the other nice thing about, I was just talking about the SOG tool. The SOG tool has a 1/4-inch driver on there, basically so you can put sockets on there, which this particular set doesn't. So you can put any sockets you want. Cool feature on this guy is that if I'm only carrying this, that's what I like about this particular tool, is I have my tools able to be one-handed opening just like my clip knife. So if I have my clip knife here, I'm able to open it one-handed. A lot of times I'm doing work where I only have one-handed, and I can actually flip it open, and make it a little easier on myself. You do have a set of decent wire cutters on these guys, and I have used them and resharpened them many times. They work very well. This is a tool I carried for a long time. I really do like it. And the biggest thing is that we have a straight blade. It's 154 cm steel on the straight blade, which is great steel. Really like those guys. A serrated for cutting rope and things like that. Not that I'm a big fan of serrated, but it's always a good idea to have a backup blade. You have a great metal saw that has the metal saw on the front. You have a file on the side and a diamond sharpener on the side. So that could be used to sharpen your main knife. Maybe you've got another knife where you could actually sharpen the knife back up to a reasonable point. And then you have a great saw. So you have basically that same saw like I showed you on the Victorinox tools. Great saw, used it for all kinds of things. Really like that guy. Now for a little up size and a little bit of upsize in weight, we have the Charge. The Charge is a great tool, very similar to the the Wave, almost identical, a little heavier duty tool, little thicker panels on the side, slightly heavier in weight. Just an all-around great tool. One thing I do like about it is that all the tools are enclosed. You notice how this one just has the pin that holds it in the side, where the Charge actually is pinned between two layers, so it makes the blades a little bit more sturdy, and I tend to think they'd hold up a little bit better if you're prying on them, things like that. Still the same saw, same tool as far as your serrated knife. Great 154 cm blades on both sides, one-handed opening, and again you have your great saw. You have your diamond sharpener, and as you can see, this one has been used like crazy. I've beat the living daylights out of this one. So something great to have. The kind of the top of the line that they make, at least in my opinion, is called the Surge. We had the Charge, the Leatherman, the Fuse, and the Surge. The Surge is a great tool for people that want a heavy-duty, beefy tool. This is somebody that likes to beat the living daylights out of their tools. It is a lot bigger. It is a lot heavier. Again, one of the big things, it takes the same tools that you use in your Leatherman Wave, same tools. Now you're going to get some bigger pluses on this guy. You have your carbon tipped removable wire cutters. So if you wanted to change out your wire cutters, you snapped one or dented one up, instead of having to resharpen them on all the other tools, you can just replace them. Kind of a neat feature. I've bent up a lot of these cutters because I do a lot of electrical work with mine and cutting through fences and things like that. It definitely is a nice tool if you're going to really be, if you're using it on the farm or whatever. This is the tool I keep in my truck. I keep it with this set of, tools here, which is really nice. It has an awesome crimper on the inside here for crimping, you know, butt connectors, things like that. A great pair of heavy-duty pliers, and it is very comfortable in the hand. That's the one nice thing that I think that Leatherman does over all the rest. It is a comfortable tool. I have all kinds of multi-tools. I have the Gerbers, I have the Leathermans, I have the SOGs, and overall I end up carrying the Leathermans more than everything else. So I also have one of their super tools, which I really like the super tool. I just feel that these are a little bit better in their line for about the same price. So something to think about. Now, this guy has a regular screwdriver, a smaller one, a little bit bigger than a 1/4-inch screwdriver, which is a really heavy-duty, nice, pryable screwdriver. You have your awl with the hole tip for sewing. So if you wanted to do any drilling or sewing in leather and things like that, that's a real nice feature. And it comes from the factory, razor sharp. You have on the other side, you have my favorite tool on all the Leatherman tools, which if you've watched our video on how to build the soda can stoves, this is a really neat feature, is their can opener. Then you have your reversible screwdriver, which, like I said, I carry the extra tips for that in this particular kit. Now on the outside, we have some really nice features that are not on some of the other tools. One being, make sure that you push all these tools back in when you're putting them back together, otherwise it kind of gets stuck. We have a big full-size blade on this guy. Comes fairly sharp from the factory, easy touch-up, makes it just razor sharp. You have on the other side, again, your full-size heavy-duty serrated blade with locks on each tool. All these have locks on all their tools, which is really nice. All the tools lock. You have your same heavy-duty saw like you do on the others. Now this is a replaceable saw, and you can use standard Bosch style jigsaw bits. And this is, like, I want you guys to see, this is standard jigsaw attachment, so you can replace jigsaw blades in there if you snap this guy or want to go to a bimetal blade or whatever you want to do. This is the blade that slides in there. It's really super easy to replace them. I'll show you here in a minute on how to replace these guys. You've got your file, heavy duty, really nice file. Again, your nice metal saw, and a really decent, probably the best out of the whole line of diamond sharpeners. Okay, now the way this works is it takes kind of another tool to get it, you know, done. If you've got a blade or whatever, I'm just going to use a screwdriver here from one of my other tools. If you want to change out the blade, you're going to pop up, push it out of the way. You're going to push the whole thing off to the side, if I can push it the wrong way here. Push it off to the side, it opens up, and the blade just comes right out. Okay, you put your new blade in, whatever that may be. If you want a blade for doing, like I said, bimetal, for it's just your standard Bosch style blades. So something to think about. So just go ahead and lock it back in, take your little loop over there, pop it back in, and you're all set to go. My favorite part of this tool is the scissors. This has the best set of scissors on the whole entire set of tools. You know, you can really get a decent pair of scissors here. Definitely beefier over all the other tools out there. I'll show you kind of the difference in scissors here from the small set to the big ones. And we're talking about a set of scissors twice the size, twice as heavy duty, really great pair of scissors, okay? This is also the only scissor I have found in any of these tools that will cut fabric. So if you're trying to cut somebody's pants off, maybe you're an EMT, this is a great set of shears on here. It is fairly rounded. They're not completely blunt tipped, but fairly rounded, works really well. So it will cut, you know, fabric. It cuts thread really well. If you needed to cut hair, you know, something you wanted to bring back the hair off of cut or something like that, it does work for that. One of the only decent quality pair of scissors on any of the tools out there, whether that's the Victorinox tools, any of them, it's one of the only ones that really does a good job cutting just about anything out there. Again, it is a locked tool and it's a full-size tool, so it really makes it nice. And I like the fact that it closes on itself normally versus a lot of the other tools where we have to fold them open and you risk the chance, if you sharpen them up, of cutting yourself. So definitely good quality tools. Now, like the standard ones out there, you have to open them completely, press the button and close them. And again, not that it's a huge risk, but you are running the risk of cutting yourself if you have it happen. Now, as far as holsters wise or sheaths for these guys, I'm a big fan of the Leatherman sheaths because they can be carried either scout style, you know, on the sideways, you know, carrying it sideways, or you can carry it vertically with the main strap on the back. So, excuse me. Excuse me. So, something to think about. So you can carry it vertically through here, or you can run your belt through here. Same thing with all the other ones out here. This is something where you can actually carry it either vertically or through the belt strap, and it doesn't hold a huge belt if you're going to carry it more scout style, but it does work very, very well. You know, so like I said, this is something as a companion to your Victorinox knife. If you're a scout leader, this should be a companion to your scout knife. So it's something where I have a decent Victorinox knife. Now I'm going to move up to the next level. Okay? Now, one thing to think about, I want to talk a little bit about clip knives. Just for the fact of, I don't want to go way too far into it because I don't think it's necessary in a scouting situation. I think if you have your decent Victorinox knives, you can kind of bypass this knife because it's not necessary in the woods. This is my everyday carry knife. Not that this is what I'm saying everybody should have. I really love the Benchmade quality knives. I also have SOGs, I have bucks, I have you know, Gerbers, all kinds of knives. They all work very well. I'm a big fan of this being a straight bladed knife. Get good quality steel because you're going to be using it for everything you shouldn't. Cutting boxes open, things like that. Now the locking mechanism on these particular Benchmades is really nice. It allows you to close it and open it without touching the blade or putting your hands. I don't like the liner locks because I put my hand in here and as soon as I pop it loose, it's already coming at my hand. I am not a big fan of assisted openings. I don't think you need it for one. I think if you get, you know, I can open it just as fast, if not a little faster than most of the assisted opening knives. So I just don't need that feature, and I feel that I've had them open up and they have to have second safeties on them, things like that. Another thing to look at is making sure I like this style of carry, which is blade, you know, blade down when it's the clip side. So a lot of knives, they'll carry the opposite where the clip is up here. Some people like that. I do not. If it is a assisted opening knife, a lot of people like their clip on the top. So basically blade up when it is carried in the pocket. I like blade down because I don't like assisted openings, and I'm going to be grabbing it out of my pocket and be able to twist it open. So something to think about. The other thing that is nice in knives is to be able to have it carried on either side. So the clip can unbolt from this side and put it over on this side. The company Benchmade makes a really great product in the fact of they have heavy-duty scales, heavy-duty insides, and they have copper inserts to make sure the blades float even though they're nice and solid. So I can sit there and literally fling it open and rotate it back in without having a blade that's all loose and everything else. I don't oil these very much. This is the knife I'd probably abuse more than any of the other knives. But something to think about. Not something I totally recommend for the scouting area, but if you're prepping, this would be in your try of knives that I might carry with me. I carry every day. I carry a Swiss Army knife. I carry a clip type knife, and then I'll carry one of these in the car or whatever area I'm going. I keep the Leatherman in my go bag. I keep the I carry the Charge when I'm out camping, things like that. Something I'm going to need a little bit heavier duty tool. And then in my truck, I keep the Surge just because I use it for like beating up on the car and things like that. I've replaced hoses on cars and things, and it is a heavier duty quality tool. So I really like that. But this is your tri-fold of knives. Really for you scouts, I think start here, go to here, okay? Our next thing we're going to be talking about in our next video that's going to be coming up here is we're going to be talking about group tools. Tools that maybe not every single person in the group needs, but maybe just the leader might want to take with them. Or you as a scout might want to have with you, okay? And this is Tate. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments at the bottom, like our videos, and subscribe. Tell us what you want to see next time. Tell us what you want to learn about. Tell us something you've seen that you want to, hey, have you heard about this? Whatever that is. But as always, have a great day.